Hello. Today I'm going to talk all about self-sabotage and imposter syndrome. Now, I have never actually spoken about this before. It's something that I've struggled with, and I've done a lot of inner work, if you like, and it's really helped me to recognize the patterns that I've been holding over the years, and I mean years. So if I go back and tell you how my life has been, how it is now, and what's happened in between, and the patterns are just so obvious. So obviously for years I've spoken about business growth, mindset, being more visible, all of that. And I've helped companies, with regards to moving forward, etc. However, there's something I don't talk about, and it's I failed, and not in the way that you might think. I I failed on purpose, but without knowing it, okay? And it's really important that I talk about this because I think this actually will resonate with some people with imposter syndrome and how we self-sabotage. So years ago, I was doing really well. I had the best opportunities. In fact, I left the company. I didn't actually have another job to go to. Okay. I left because I thought, I'm going to try and do something on my own. Didn't quite have the plan or anything. So I'm going back a fair few years. So we're going back to 2011. But prior to that, from 2005, my life was pretty great when it comes to success. Okay, I was storming ahead. I was doing so well. I'm talking awards constantly, making a shed load of money. I was given luxury holidays. When I say given, I won the holidays through you achieve, therefore you get the holidays, and I overachieved. I was an overachiever, and I liked it, okay, I did, but I was so empty inside. In fact, I remember opening up one of my paychecks once, because it was the times where, you'd have it come through the door, you'd rip it open to have a look, so much tax, etc. was taken off. And I remember feeling so empty, but the money was good, okay? I'm not going to deny that the money was good, but I just felt this emptiness. And I remember the whole feelings of it, everything. And people were having a go at me all the time about what my life was like, and also a lot of mum guilt going on, because I've got a daughter, and she was very young at the time, and I was going off to sometimes other countries, having to stay away on the odd occasion, not all the time, but staying away from work. And I remember people being like, oh, well, who's got your daughter? Who's got this? Obviously, I haven't just left her at home on her own. I was very fortunate to have a good lot of people around me. And I remember someone had a go at me once where we were just chatting about apples, right? Just apples. And I said, oh my God, my daughter loves pink ladies, which she does. And being a parent, I was earning good money. And I remember thinking, what's your problem? They literally were having a go at me because I bought pink lady apples, and they was like, well, you're spoiling your child, just give them any apple. And I was like, well, no, she actually eats the pink ladies, and as a parent you kind of want them to eat, with the good fruits, etc. And I thought, well, if she's eating the pink ladies and that's her favourite, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it to her because she likes that as a fruit, and I'm trying to encourage her to eat more fruit. And that was my argument. And I don't know why I was even arguing or justifying my existence as a parent. And I was kind of like, I was kind of thrown back at the time, and it really upset me because they were like, you spoil her. And I was like, what do you mean? And they said, well, you always, we see you all the time. She's always dressed in the best clothing, da 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 da. And she's a child, it doesn't matter. And I was like, what? Firstly, I thought, I don't go around showcasing my daughter. Yes, okay, she is always dressed nice, but I don't go around going, hey, look what I spent. I just don't do that as a person. And I just thought that was on them. And at the time, it like I say, it upset me. And then a few other people said some things. I'm going to even go about my stepdad here. Now, I do respect my stepdad, but he turned round to me at the time and said, Trace, in life, you get to be two things. You're going to be either successful, or you're going to be the one who's the mum and, you have a good relationship. You can't have both, okay? And I was like, well, I want it all. You can't, he said. You just don't. People just don't. You either have success or you have, the relationship and the family life. And I was thinking, well, I've got the family life, I've got a daughter, and so I just want to also throw into the mix here as I'm talking about this. I had a terrible relationship before I even started this job. I had a really bad relationship, which took me a while, to leave. It wasn't the best relationship. I'll go into that on another time, because that's not what I'm talking about on this. But it was really bad. It really upset me. It left me very scarred. And when we had split, and bearing in mind that's my daughter's dad, and so we were together for 11 years, and split up when I was 30. And he said when he split, I will never give you a penny when it comes to giving me anything for my daughter. And I was like, obviously very upset by all of this. And I was thinking, I've got to earn the money. So I was desperate to go out there and earn the money. So I was in sales. And so I was doing all of that, selling everything. I would just go out and I worked hard. Okay. I worked really hard. And then I got all this, these people saying, these comments to me. And I also remember, this was another family member. Now, this family member I don't ever really speak to, if I'm honest, to see them occasionally. And, they're them, I'm me. And we're very different people. And I remember, as I've always tried to fit in with certain members of the family, because I feel like I don't. Because I'm just, I'm me. I don't know, I might not want to do what they want to do. And I feel like you try so hard to fit in. And so as a person, I've always felt like a bit of an outsider, because, you go to work, and then you spend some time around your family, and then you don't quite fit in there either. So I've kind of, we're talking distant family, etc. And anyhow, so I remember this person in the family, and he said to me, you're not like one of us, are you? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, at the end of the day, you like all the nice bits and pieces, you're one of these people that wants to end up on a yacht somewhere. And I was like, well, yeah, actually, I do. And I'm not going to lie, I do want that. And I said, no, why? Because I felt like I was attacked, And he was like, well, you're not just like one of us, we're just happy, going to the pub, etc., etc. And you're just not one of us. And I don't know why, but it hurts so much. And I was just like, I want to be everyone in the family. I want them to like me. I did. I wanted that. And I thought, I don't know, it got me. It just got me, because I'd spent the whole weekend trying to, it was over the Christmas period, and I don't know, everything just felt like it was all crumbling. So I remember saying to my mum, I feel lost. I felt lost as a person. I said, I've got to go back to work. So anyhow, I said, I just don't think I'm going to do my job anymore. I was so down over that Christmas anyhow. I'd been earning the money, and it hadn't fulfilled me. So I'd earned, this is the thing, you go to work, you earn the money, and I just felt lost as a person, even though I'd succeeded, I'd won the awards, And guess what? I was still the same. I still felt the same. When you hear of stories of celebrities, and they've got all this money, etc., and they don't feel fulfilled. And now some people say, well, that's because it was given to them on the plate. And this is where I'm going to come in and say, I had a hard upbringing, okay? And I appreciated the money side, but it didn't fulfill me. I was still feeling quite empty. I loved the lifestyle that we had, being able to go into the shop and not worry about, what you spend. And we're not talking, I was like rich. I became comfy with the money that was coming in. It felt good. That if we wanted to just, you weren't picking up everything going, oh, it's this much. You just, if you wanted it to eat it, we just put it in the trolley. And that's what I wanted for me and my daughter. Okay. And I know that sounds so stupid, just talking about the food side, but that's kind of how I saw it, being able to book a holiday and, just being able to treat her with stuff. So if she needed, I don't know, shoes for school, needed this, that and the other, I just went to the shops and got it without questioning my bank account. It just was there. I just did it. And that's who I wanted to be. And I felt like, even though I was doing all of that, I had this I don't know, it just felt unfulfilled. I didn't feel like me. And then I'd got people always saying things to me as well, and it just felt like everyone was chipping away. So I just felt like I crumbled. So I gave up my job. And I found another one very quickly because I had some money in the bank and it was running out. So I did find one sharpish, and it was, not so great, but, I went and did it anyhow. And I don't know, with life, I kind of felt like I had some serious money blocks because towards the end, you see, before I'd given up the job, I was going out and I was going to work, and it was easy. It got easy for me. And I was bringing in really good money. And that, I don't know, there was something very uncomfortable with all of that with me, without me even knowing that, looking back, I kind of go, okay, that's some serious money blocks you've got there. And I kind of then went on a path of wanting to fail. All these things said to me, chipping away. Obviously, I'd got some money blocks anyhow. And I remember I'd gone for a job. And so I'd got 2 job offers on the table, okay? 2. I'm just going to, just for the sake of this, right? One of them, say, was for £45,000 per year basic, okay? Which pretty much was, actually. And the other one was 21. And, both of them had commission on top. Guess which one I went for? I went for the one which was less money. Why would I do that? Why on earth would I do that and make my life harder? So it's only been recently I've been kind of doing so much sort of talking with others about imposter syndrome with regards to how they price things, their values and everything else. And I thought, it just, it was a bit of a light bulb moment of how throughout my career, I've also suffered because I could completely see myself in the other people that didn't want to take that step up, didn't price correctly because they didn't think they were worthy. And I had all these blocks. Have you had this? And it was a big thing for me, accepting your self-worth, knowing that, you can get more money. And also, as I thought about it, I was like, when it was really easy to go out there and get money, I was good at what I did. I went out there and got the sales in, and in return, I was paid well. And towards the end, it was like I say, it was really easy. And that was not something I was ever brought up to be about money. You know, that sort of mindset, it's me easy. I was not told that at all. And in my heart of hearts, I was like, this is, I don't know, it was uncomfortable if I look back, because I was brought up to believe you have to work hard for your money. And I wasn't. Towards, you know, at the beginning, I worked really hard. And I'm not saying that I didn't go to work and put you know, all myself into it, because I did. But I was, when I consider the types of monies that I started earning, because obviously I was on I was on commission. So I'd get my basic pay and commission. And like I said, I threw it all away when it was good, because it didn't feel right with me. Had all people sniping at me, and I was unfulfilled. Apart from, like I say, yeah, money's in the bank, but I needed more. I needed just so much more. And I've come to the realization, what fulfills me is when I help others. I actually really feel so fulfilled when I'm helping somebody else. And I look back at my past and I think, well, okay, you literally, someone could just do psychology on me and kind of go, well, yeah, she's had abuse. And you'll find that when people have had abuse, they either kind of wallow, it seems, or they kind of use all of that to take themselves forward, and they help others. And it appears I fall into that category. I love helping other people fulfill their dreams and their ambitions. And I think in life, maybe that's what I was supposed to always be doing. And that's probably why I was so unfulfilled. Now, hey, I feel in such a good place. I've got my self-worth. I feel really good. And I am, when I get paid well, I'm like, hey, yeah, I deserve that, rather than, didn't really work very hard for that. I went out and did my job, but it's not as though where, there was a fire and I've had to go into a building to get that money. I just think there is a lot of people out there that work exceptionally hard and are very underpaid indeed. And, I was kind of, I don't know, toying with all of the life itself. There's me. I thought, wow, I'm being paid this and I've got all these nice things. It is, it's life, I suppose. And I don't know. I really felt that I started to self-sabotage things, but no more. I always took the harder path. No more. I'm taking an easier path because I've got my self-worth. It's like, yes, I want, I want to get to destination D, and if there's a shortcut through it, then I'm taking the shortcut through. Yes, I work hard. Yes, I've got my integrity. I've got my self-worth, and I can see where I've had blocks before. And I think recognizing things are just so crucial to your success. Have you had this? Because I know, honestly, it's taken me years to realise what's been in front of my face all along. So anyhow, my name's Tracy from Flourish Connections, and I do hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully you will join me on future podcasts. Take care. Enjoy. Bye-bye.